Getting to know you, getting to know all about you. This lighting just isn't working out for me. Hi BookTube, it's Marianne at Really Asked for a Book, and today we have exceptionally horrendous lighting. It's so bright, and the sunshine keeps glaring off my specs, and I'm honestly ready to fight. But as you can see from the title, we are here to do the historical romance reader book tag that was created by Jess at PeaceLoveBooksxo. So we have 10 questions. I'm going to check that. No, we don't. We have 13 questions, Marianne. So, question number 1. What was the first historical romance you ever read? I don't remember, but I think that it was Outlander. I need to buy a new box set of the Outlander series because this is actually atrocious. So this, I reread books quite a lot. And all of the books in my bookshelf look almost brand new. Like, I don't bend spines, I don't dog-ear pages, I don't bend covers. I am very, very particular about the condition of my books. But Outlander, I've read so many times. The spine is gubbed, the cover is bent. Thankfully, like, the pages are fine. The pages are nice and intact. None of them are dog-eared, but this cover, like, it's gained me the fear just looking at it. Anyway, Outlander tells the story of Jamie and Claire. Claire goes back in time accidentally and meets Jamie, the ruggedly handsome Scottish Highlander. They fall in love and it's part of a series, and it's honestly the greatest love story of all time. I shouldn't even need to explain what it is. Everybody knows what it is. Everybody loves it as far as I'm aware. So yeah, that was the first. That, I believe, was the first historical romance that I ever read. So the second question, what was the most recent historical romance? No, that's not the question. What the fuck is the question? What was the last historical romance book you read? So the last historical romance I read and finished was The Duke Who Didn't by Courtney Milan, which was such a wholesome story about a duke that didn't tell his prospective partner that he was a duke. She was of the lower classes. The hero generally is the purest cinnamon roll, and I loved the book. I gave it 5 stars. It was totally amazing, and I recommend it to everyone. Currently I'm reading The Sea of Ruin by Pam Godwin, which has a completely different vibe altogether. Question number 3. Who is an underrated historical romance author who you wish more people would read? Emily Windsor. I keep talking about her. Like, our books are so good. All of her books are on Kindle Unlimited. She is also a lovely person because I spoke to her on Instagram. So please go and read her books. Question number 5. Nope. Question number 4. Jesus. What historic, oh my god. Who is a historical romance author you haven't read yet but you need to get to? So there are 3 that I haven't read so far but need to get to. And the reason being is most of the historical romances I've read have been on Kindle Unlimited, because I've been on a book buying ban. But I'm going to be listening to their books on Scribd. Because unfortunately on Libby, none of our local libraries do an abundance of historical romance, and usually they only have the first in a series, and then that's it. Like, what use is that to me, or anybody for that matter? So I'll be using Scribd, and I keep getting throttled, so it's going to take me forever and a day. The authors, I should have answered the question in the first place. Lisa Kleypas and Tessa Dare have been on my list for ages, and I haven't gotten round to reading any of their books yet. So, that's a priority. Question number 5. What historical romance would you recommend to someone new to the genre? It would need to be something that wasn't particularly heavy on the history. Because I think if you're going into historical romance without a kind of basic background knowledge of history, then it might be a wee bit hard. For example, like Outlander, there is no way in God's green earth that I would recommend that to someone that was literally just starting to read historical romance. Before I read this, I already had a bit of background knowledge on sort of Jacobite era Scotland and then subsequent happenings, so it wasn't too much of a culture shock. So something like My Fake Rake by Eva Lee, or A Governess Should Never Tempt a Prize Fighter by Emily Windsor. Both of those are quite light-hearted. They don't have too many kind of dark elements to them. They have happily ever afters. My Fake Rake is basically just a fake dating romance, but set further back in time. Neither of them have a kind of noble status. But there's plenty of resources online, like for you to go and see the different sort of ranks within nobility and stuff like that, and even like broken or even really simplified sort of breakdowns of historical periods you can find online. But those two are the first two that come to mind when answering that question. What is your favourite historical romance of all time? I have a funny feeling I'm going to be lifting this a lot. Outlander. Honestly, like I said previously, the greatest love story of our time. I don't care how many people come back to me and go, oh no, but Jack and Rose from Titanic. Like, I don't care about Jack and Rose anymore. I care about Jamie and Claire. Like, that love defends all laws of time and physics and like separation and just it's perfection. Question number 7. Do you prefer new or old school historical romance? I mean, I like both, but I feel like in newer historical romance, female authors are less sort of constrained with regards to using sex scenes and stuff like that. It's less repressive, like, and women will openly admit that they're looking for that in books. So from that aspect, there's that. And also because of social movements and things that come into the public eye and things that have been long-standing problems, now people are writing them into the stories. For example, diversity-wise, there's a lot more diverse historical romance books now. This chair is so uncomfortable. Same-sex relationships are more common in newer historical romances. So yeah, I would say probably newer. Number 8. What are your favourite historical romance tropes? Fake dating, i.e. My Fake Rake. Romances between different social classes, such as Would I Lie to the Duke by Eva Lee. And what else? Friends to Lovers. Number 9. What are your favourite historical romance settings? Again, I'm not particularly fussy in that front. I would say the majority of historical romances I read are set in the kind of Regency period. But I think the main reason for that is, aside from Outlander, I'm finding it really hard to find Highlander romances that hit the spot the same way that Outlander did. Anytime I'm reading Highlander romances, it's hard to kind of break myself out of the mindset of Jamie being the hero in the situation. So that's my own issue to work through. Living in Scotland, we learned very, very little about Scottish history. Everything was sort of based around England, so yeah. Question number 10. What is the oldest historical romance you own? I think it might be Outlander again. Wait a minute. First published in 1991. Question number 11. What is your favourite step back you own? Now, I'm quite salty about this. Again, because I read most of my books on Kindle, I don't actually have physical books with the lovely step backs on them, which makes me sad, because some of them are so freaking beautiful. So when my book buying ban's over, I'll get back to you on that question. Question number 12. What historical romance releases are you excited for? Now, this is actually, it's not funny, but it's stupid. So when I had wrote these questions down at first, when I had seen Jessie's video, my initial answer was Waiting for a Scot Like You by Eva Lee. And I had went to make sure I had pre-ordered it. And then found out that it had already been released and I just hadn't put it in my diary. So, felt a bit stupid about that. So, it's technically a historical romance release that I was excited about. So, now I just need to buy it and read it. Question number 13. What creators do you follow for historical romance recommendations? Oh, there's so many. Right. I'll narrow it down to 5. 5 seems like a nice number. Obviously Jess at PeaceLoveBooks, because she's like the queen of historical romance recommendations. Lacey at Lacey Book Lovers. Jen at the Book Refuge. Crystal at Crystal's Bookish Life. Lisa at Remarkably Lisa. What I will do, because obviously those channel links will be in the description box anyway, I'll put more in the description box. I'll just make a list and I'll put them in the description box, and you can go and find all of the people doing all of the recommendations for all of the historical romance. And I hope everybody has a nice day. Go have fun, read some historical romance. It's very sunny outside. Go sit outside, get some vitamin D, read a book, live your best life. So stay safe, happy reading, and I'll speak to you later. Bye!